Agnes had not cried in public in 30 years. She considered it a point of pride. Then a stranger sat down beside her in a hospital waiting room and said 4 words, and everything changed. Agnes was 79, and she was not someone who needed help. She had raised 3 children, buried 1 husband, survived a stroke at 71 that took 6 months of her speech and none of her determination. She organized her own affairs, she attended her own appointments. She had come to the hospital that morning alone, because it had genuinely not occurred to her to do otherwise. She sat in the waiting room with her handbag on her lap, back straight, face composed, the way she had faced every difficult thing in her life. Head up, prepared, alone. They had called her in an hour ago for the scan. Now she was waiting for the results. She had been waiting for 49 minutes. She knew, because she had counted. The room was full. A young couple with a child, 2 men looking at their phones, a woman turning pages in a magazine without reading them. No one met anyone else's eyes. Agnes sat with her hands folded, back straight, and she thought about her mother, who had died in a room not unlike this one. And she thought about the expression on the doctor's face when he had ordered the scan. She did not allow herself to think about what that expression might mean. He sat down beside her at the 50th minute. An old man, 80 perhaps, with a wooden cane he didn't lean on heavily, reading glasses pushed up on his forehead. He settled into the chair, carefully, the way people do when their joints require negotiation. And then he was simply still. He did not look at his phone. He did not pick up a magazine. He sat the way people sit who have made their peace with waiting. After a few minutes, without turning his head, he said, "Hard place to be alone in." Agnes did not respond. She kept her hands folded and her eyes forward. He did not seem to require a response. He simply returned to his stillness. Another 10 minutes passed. Then he said, still looking at the middle distance, "My wife used to hold my hand, in places like this. I'd forgotten how much it helped, until she was gone." Agnes turned to look at him then. She looked at his profile, the white hair, the calm hands resting on the cane, and something happened in her chest that she had not been prepared for. It was the plainness of it, the complete absence of performance or self-pity. He was not asking for anything. He was not even speaking to her exactly. He was simply releasing something true into the room. She felt her eyes fill. She was furious with herself. She had not cried in public in 30 years. But her eyes did not consult her on the matter. And then, without a word, he placed his hand on the armrest between them, palm upward, open, not reaching, simply there. She looked at it for a long time. Then she placed her hand in his. When the nurse called her name, she stood. She smoothed her coat. She picked up her handbag. She turned back once. He looked at her, the steady, unhurried patience of someone who has survived considerable things. He nodded, slowly. She nodded back. Then she walked through the door. The results, as it turned out, were fine. A shadow on the scan that was nothing. An unremarkable morning by the measure of medical outcomes. But she still thinks about the hour when she didn't know that. She still thinks about the waiting room, the 50 minutes of counting, and the hand that was simply there. That is enough. Has a stranger ever been kind to you at exactly the right moment? One of those moments you still think about years later. Leave your story in the comments. I read every single one. And if you know someone sitting alone in a waiting room today, please send this to them.